China has missed its fourth quarter GDP estimates on Wednesday, with GDP for the last 3 months of 2023 rising 5.2%, according to the country's National Bureau of Statistics. That's still below the 5.3% forecast. GDP growth for the full year was also 5.2%, representing one of the worst years of growth since 1990, as recovery shows signs of stalling. Shares are tumbling across the board in China today, with Hong Kong plunging as much as 3%. The country has also resumed reporting of the unemployment rate for young people. The rate for people aged 16 to 24 came out at 14.9%. The Bureau had temporarily suspended the release of those figures in the summer, citing the need to reassess calculation methods. That unemployment rate had previously climbed to records above 20%. For more on this now, we are joined by Han Tan in Dubai. He is the Chief Market Analyst for Xinity Group. Thank you for being with us today. Han, we were saying just a few years ago, we were talking about China overtaking the US to become the world's #1 economy. Is this still going to happen after all that we've seen, not just in the growth numbers, but also in the property sector and many others?
Right. I think it could still happen, but only briefly. And that's based on the latest projections that show that China could overtake the US in about 20 years from now, but it won't hold on to that top spot for long, right? I mean, look, even before the pandemic, China's economy had been maturing. Long gone are the days of double-digit GDP growth. And now with the post-pandemic recovery not really materializing, that essentially delayed China's hopes of becoming the world's largest economy.
Han, why such a high unemployment rate for young people especially? How will China tackle that together with the population decline that we are seeing?
Yeah, so it boils back to the shaky post-pandemic recovery, right? So with sluggish consumer demand, many of these services sectors were affected. Think of the young people who would normally find employment in restaurants, at the movie theater, or doing sales, right? So, and this is where fiscal and supply side policies, they now play a much greater role, in helping future generations upskill themselves, right, to be more future-proof, right? So, keep in mind you've got a backdrop of stabilizing headline GDP growth. I think, simply put, it's a tough challenge ahead for both policymakers as well as upcoming generations in China.
Han Tan, great analysis on the Chinese economy. Thank you very much for being with us. And now let's go to other top stories from around the world. The UK's annual consumer price inflation rate unexpectedly climbed to 4% in December, breaking a 10-month streak of decline. This uptick follows November's 3.9%, the lowest in over 2 years, posing challenges for the Bank of England in managing inflation amid economic uncertainties. Apple's iPhone has ended Samsung's 12-year run as the world's top smartphone seller. The iPhone stole Samsung's crown in 2023 with 234.6 million units sold, compared to the South Korean firm's 226.6 million units. Apple commanded a 20.1% market share, ahead of Samsung's 19.4%. And in the US, a federal judge has blocked JetBlue Airways' $3.8 billion takeover of the budget carrier Spirit Airlines. The judge concluded that passengers who rely on Spirit's cheaper fares would likely be harmed by the deal, and it would knock competition. Following the news, shares in Spirit halved on Tuesday afternoon, and JetBlue's stock was 6% higher in a volatile trading day. In a joint statement, both companies said they disagree with the ruling and they are considering their next steps.